Hello, chefs. Good evening. We are back again. I'm Isaiah, the young Jedi chef, here with the Dragon Warrior chef, German Lamb, and the Phoenix Warrior chef, Noreen. We will be your host for today's podcast. You're listening to a unique podcast where we will discuss tough yet real topics that need to be heard in the industry. In this podcast, you will hear the truth, real, raw, and unfiltered. Today, we have the honor of having Chef Mark with us to talk about living a healthful lifestyle in order to reach your full potential. I'm excited to get started and jump right in. So without further ado, I will let the star of our show, our guest, Chef Mark, introduce himself. Chef Mark.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on the podcast. This is really exciting and I feel very honored. My name is Mark Allison. I've been a chef since I was 16 years old. I had really good parents in the fact that my mother loved to cook, which helped, and my father was a keen gardener. So basically, as soon as I got into the kitchen, I was dealing with whole foods, and that's been my entire career. I traveled a lot in my younger days around Europe. And then when I got to 30, I thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind being an educator. And I got a job as a teacher at Neath Port Talbot College. And for 10 years, my students basically won every competition in England. And that caught the eye of Johnson& Wales University. And in 2004, I was offered a job with them and moved to America in 2004. And I became the Dean of Culinary Arts at the Charlotte campus and ran that for 10 years. And then I left that and I became Director of Culinary Nutrition for the Dole Food Company. So bananas and pineapples. I was really interested in fruits and vegetables. So I used to do all the recipe development for the Dole Food Company and also Walt Disney World. And that was one of my best jobs. But unfortunately, at the age of 93, the owner, David H. Murdoch, decided to retire and sell the company. So I moved on and I became the executive chef at Forever Oceans, which is a sustainable seafood company. And now I do a lot of consulting for big brand companies. And I'm a private chef for big events. So for 44 years, I've never been out of work. I've had a great career, traveled the world, and love being an educator and love being a chef.
Thank you so much, Chef. Definitely well versed and well rounded. We really appreciate you being here today and looking forward to kind of hearing your insights on this topic. So thank you so much. Diet, activity, and health habits are three things that can determine the outcome of your health. The simple choices that you make on a daily basis can have a major impact on your life tomorrow. I believe that as chefs and hospitality professionals, it is our obligation to provide this knowledge for our guests that we serve as well as ourselves in order to live a healthy lifestyle. So starting off with the first question, what is your biggest motivation for living a healthy lifestyle and how difficult is it to achieve? Chef Mark, you want to start us off on that one?
Okay, then for me, I just turned 60 this year, and I feel like I'm 30. And I think that's all down to nutrition and exercise and having a positive mindset. So I'm all about eating correctly, which I believe in whole foods. My recipes all involve what I class as one ingredient foods. So an apple is an apple. A grass-fed piece of beef is a piece of beef. It's got no additives, preservatives, colorants into it. So it's not ultra-processed. So I'm all about taking fresh, seasonal ingredients and cooking them is my main nutrition. Exercising every day, having a positive outlook, getting outside and getting some vitamin D, because the only way you can get real vitamin D is through the sun, and helping with the community and just being positive about life. So to me, it's all about feeling good.
I love that, Chef. And I love how you said you're 60, and you don't look 60, but feeling like you're 30 at 60, that is definitely a goal of mine. So that's a
You
great
can you can come around for Christmas dinner now. You're
exactly.
welcome to my house anytime.
I love it, Chef. Chef Noreen or Lamb, do you have a view on that?
Yeah, I think I have two motivators for the healthy lifestyle. Of course, it's mainly for future Noreen. So future Noreen feels good as time goes along, and having that health and strength in the future helps you accomplish. I have a long list of goals that I want to accomplish. So I won't be able to do that if I'm not feeling my best. And as well, I'm really passionate about creating healthy lifestyle and making it easier for people to choose that. So if I can't do it, how can I coach someone else into doing it? So I don't think it's that difficult to achieve, in that there are small things you can do to get closer to what you think is the best healthy lifestyle for you. Maintaining it every day, I think, can be a challenge, that consistency and that discipline. But finding ways to achieve it, I think it's more simple than a lot of people assume.
And I like what you touched on, is having the goals and wanting to achieve the goals. If if you're not healthy, then you can't achieve the goals that you want to achieve, because you might not even be here, or you might be sick in the hospital. So keeping yourself healthy just for that sole purpose is a motivator to make choices every day, the right choices every day, and the foods you eat, and how you use your body, and the little things that you do. It makes a huge difference. So thank you so much, Noreen. Chef Lamb.
Well, you know what? I gotta say, Chef Mark, you must be my twin brother, because if we were on stage and we had our white jackets, unfortunately, we do not look like Chef Boyardee's. Sorry to disappoint the world, but I would say we're athletes. Why is that? The profession that we're in, it's beautiful. It's probably the only profession where you're able to develop the body, mind, spirit, and food, and understanding what happens when you commit to yourself and what happens when you show the love to yourself. Then it comes within, and to me, that is something very hard to understand, because you have to understand that sanitation, safety, respect, and professionalism is part of the white jacket. Whether you're in the kitchen or you're outside of the kitchen, it's just a code of ethic that you think about, because you're dealing with food, and you could get someone food poison, and you could really do some damages. So for me, listening to Chef Mark about his lifestyle and this, and the beauty is we all have our own recipe, and the beauty is we learn from one another. Right now I'm listening to Chef Mark. Okay, this is his approach, and that is the beauty of being a chef. We all share.
And I love what you mentioned, Chef, on chefs are almost athletes in a way, because you have to be able to flow smoothly in the kitchen. Every movement matters. And if you're not able to flow smoothly, something could be affected in service. So that's super, super important. And your mental health is important. Your physical health is important. And everything balances out and is really, really equal. And even me personally, what I put in my body, if I have pancakes in the morning and something fatty, I'm going to feel sluggish throughout the day. But if I have, let's say, oatmeal and a green smoothie, I'm going to be energized and, ready to go for it. So it makes a difference. So definitely you are what you eat. And as chefs, we have that power. So it's super, super important. So thank you so much for that, Chef. So having a why behind a healthy lifestyle is super important, because it keeps you working towards it on a daily basis. However, having a why is just the first step. Once you have the motivation to do what it takes, it's important to know how to do so, and how to turn some unhealthy habits that you might have into healthy habits. In the hospitality industry, we strive to provide the best experience for our guests, but oftentimes we neglect to take care of ourselves and exchange the stressful nature of the job for getting high, drunk, giving off high levels of stress or anger. So what are some healthy habits that you practice on a daily basis? And are there any old habits that you had to give up in order to achieve your goals? Chef Mark, you want to start us off?
I think it's just like anything in life. Everything is hard. So if you don't look after yourself, it's going to be harder as you get older to get fitter. So I think the earlier you start with good habits, the easier life can be. My habits are I exercise every day. I walk every day. I do 4 miles with the dog. I think having a dog is one of the best habits you can have, because not only you getting exercise, but also the dog. Get out and get some fresh air, and eat good food. I don't smoke. We're in an industry with a lot of alcoholics, and that's one of the worst things you can do, is get addicted to something early on in your career, because then it's going to be a fight against that addiction every day of your life. So I'm looking more at good habits: eating well, exercising, good mindset, being around good positive people, and learning from professionals in your industry who have been there for a long time, and that they're top of their profession. You can learn so much, like the chef just said, from other people. Everybody's got their own story, but if you're open to learning something new every day, something positive, then you can lead a very healthy, sustainable life.
Yeah, I love what you said on that, being open to new perspectives and being open to learning from those that have done it before you, and the ones that have done it, professionally and in the right way before you is also very important. And like you said, smoking and drinking every day after work, it affects you in a negative way, and you can't clearly think at work. You can't be focused. You can't, do your job to the best that you should be able to do it. So I think it's super important to get that out there, and there are other things than those habits, going to the gym after work, maybe instead of going out to the bar, different things like that you could do. Those small choices make a big difference. So I really appreciate that, Chef. Thank you so much. Noreen or Chef Lamb?
Yeah, I love how you ended that with having sustainable actions every day. Something I had to stop was staying up very late at night, working in the evening shift, and then coming home and it's 11, it's midnight, it's maybe even later, and you feel that you've lost that evening that a lot of other people in maybe an office job have, where they can hang out, maybe they play a game together, they watch TV, they do whatever it is to unwind at the end of the evening. And so I'm trying to play catch up and do that, but then I'm going to bed at 4 a.m. That's not sustainable. That's not going to serve me day after day after day. So that's something I've had to shed and prioritize my sleep. I talk about it all the time. Sleep is so, so, so important. My first degree was in psychology. It's my first bachelor's degree, and just learning how important sleep is for the brain. I think it's very underrated. And especially in the industry, a lot of people say, oh, you sleep? What is sleep? Oh, we're chefs, we don't sleep. And that's why they're not at 100%. Your brain consolidates a lot of memories during your sleep. It expels a lot of toxins. A lot of your digestion happens when you're asleep. Your immunity is improved while you sleep. So if you're not getting your 7 to 8 hours, you're not giving yourself a good basis. So that's something I really try to prioritize. I get my 8 hours of sleep. Drinking water is very important. Staying hydrated. It can be very easy to drink a lot of coffee and Coca-Cola. And just making sure you eat a good meal before you go to work. Having a good meal gives you energy for the rest of the day. And that has made the biggest difference. It's really simple things, but giving myself those tools every day first has helped me build a sustainable, healthy base that I can build on, where I do yoga and meditation, and I like to go for a swim, even if it's at night. Swimming at night is amazing. It's so quiet. No one else is in the pool. It's magical. So, finding things that work for me has been very nice.
Yeah, and I gotta say, what you said on sleep is also super important, and it's something I'm working on personally too. Getting enough sleep, and oftentimes I could find myself scrolling through my phone all night. After work, after trying to de-stress, but maybe instead of scrolling through my phone, picking up a book and learning, and that'll put you to sleep as well. But it's kind of, you're getting knowledge and you're getting education as opposed to something mindless. So I think that's also very important. And like you said, going to sleep, getting 8 hours prevents you having foggy mind at work, you could be concentrated and focused, and that's super, super important. So I thank you, Noreen, for that. Chef Lamb?
Well, you know what? Our industry, especially now, And think about Chef Mark, when we started, it's a different game. When we started, COVID-19 never came along. It didn't come to life. Now we have COVID-19 and we haven't defeated COVID-19. So if you think about, everyone talks about it's just like the flu. Yeah, but the thing about the flu is if your immune system not able to bounce back the minute your body hits the ground and come back, then you are in a situation where you call yourself damaged goods. Right now, your immune system is like, it has an open door, and now it's saying with any other disease, please walk in, come in. So for me, you really learn about your body. So in one way, I call it like puberty example, because you can't speed up puberty. Puberty has this time. It's like the turtle. It has a certain stage, and when it wants to get there, it gets there. So what can we do? Well, we do the basic things, right? We do the basic things where it's about the body, mind, spirit, and food. Nourish it, understand it, and read. To me, reading is so powerful. YouTube, just watch someone tells their life story, and to me, it's really about sharing. And the question is, can you be mentored? That's when you talk about healthy lifestyle, we all talk about it, but do we want to? Can we? Or are you willing?
Yeah, I love that point on it, being able to be mentored, and are you willing to do it? Because like we could talk about it all day, but if you're not willing to do it and you're not putting it into practice, then what's the point? So that's a really good point. Thank you so much, Chef Lam. So diet is a big part of our health, and the lack of a healthy diet can lead to problems and diseases such as cancer, diabetes, liver and kidney disease, and even worse, death. Foods with overt sugars and excessive amounts of fat can lead to blood clots and greatly affect you in a negative way. What are some healthy food options that will satisfy your taste buds, but that have a healthy effect on your body? What are your favorite healthful dishes, and what is the best way to prepare foods to achieve the highest value of nutrition from them? Chef Mark, you want to start us off?
Okay. Like I said right at the beginning, I was very lucky to have a mother who liked to cook from scratch and a father who was a very good gardener. So my whole philosophy has always been about using one ingredient foods or whole foods or seasonal foods. And I think one of the biggest problems in this country is the fact that we don't teach kids how to cook. Because if you don't know how to cook, how do you know what good foods are good for you? So I think everybody really needs to cook for themselves if they can. And I think everybody needs to go to the farmer's market or go to a store that sells seasonal fruits and vegetables and lean proteins and nuts, beans, and seeds. And my philosophy about food is more like the Mediterranean diet, in the fact that it's not just a diet, it's not just about food, it's about spending time with your family and community. It's about getting outside and getting that fresh air and the exercise. My wife was diagnosed with cancer in 2008 and given 3 years to live. So we completely changed her diet to a whole food, and she survived 8 years before she passed away. So I'm a great believer in you can use food as medicine. But if you start off right and you're following a good style diet like the Mediterranean diet, it's going to push back any cancer, any heart disease, any type 2 diabetes way out into the future before you eventually get it. Because it's all of these added sugars, these seed oils that need to be taken out of our diet as well, and get back to actually foods that are actually food, that are not ultra processed, that are not packed with additives, preservatives, colorants, which is basically killing everybody in this country.
Yeah, and I love what you said on looking at all other cultures and seeing their diet and how they eat and how they live, because certain cultures they tend to live longer and they tend to have healthier lives, and there's a reason for that. It's what they eat. They don't add all that processed food in their food. Yeah, everything is fresh, made from humble ways, and everybody eats together at home, and they take advantage of the rest, and they have breaks throughout the day, and that helps you and helps sustain you. And it really makes a huge difference. And the cultures from America to other cultures, you could easily tell the health of people. And there's a big difference. So thank you so much, Chef, for that. Noreen or Chef Lamb?
Yeah, no, it was making me think about my roommates that I'm currently living with now. Two are Italian, and one she's from Switzerland. And it's very funny when we have time when we all go together on a shopping trip to the supermarket, grocery store, or they go and oh, look at this snack that I found, or look at this convenience. We don't have this in Europe. What is this? And I said, well, welcome to America. Anything that you think you could desire, you can purchase on a shelf. And it's insane that, they say it's crazy that people eat this all the time. And I said, I agree. You turn over the package and you read the back, which I encourage everyone to, oh, bless you. I encourage everyone to get very familiar with the nutrition facts on the back of your package, and also the ingredient list. The ingredient list will tell you a lot. You don't realize the crap that you're eating. I hate to say it that way, but that's really, really what it is. And it was something that drives me so much in the food industry, why I came in. And whole foods, my family's from Egypt. We very much have that Mediterranean kind of viewpoint in terms of family eating and sharing. And I'm very lucky. My parents always cooked from scratch. My mom, my grandparents. So whole foods. Learn how to peel and cut a carrot. Learn how to use all the vegetables, seasonal fruits. You can just pick up fruit and eat it, the whole thing with the skin, all of the fiber. That's a great snack. I talk about lentils a lot. I love lentils. I love a tomato lentil soup. You can have that with your grilled cheese if you desire. I had that for lunch today. Packed with nutrients, iron, potassium, all that good stuff. So there are a lot of great whole foods out there. It's just about learning how to use them. And it's okay if you cook something for the first time and you don't particularly like it, try again. It takes time to find what you like, especially with vegetables. I think a lot of Americans are shy around vegetables. There's so many kinds. Don't steam them to death. There are lots of ways to cook them. I promise you there'll be a vegetable that you like. So just experimenting, I think, goes a long way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Learning how to cook, loving cooking, and experimenting with the ingredients and food that you have is super important. And cooking, it could be experience with your family. There's different things you could do to make it fun and really use different ingredients in a way to help you nutritionally. So thank you so much, Noreen, for that. Chef Lamb?
Whoa, you know what? Chef Mark had some great wisdom. Chef Noreen talked about shopping, and I'm just gonna go, well, 7 years ago, the big C word, cancer, came into my life. I wrote a book, The Dragon Turns to Water, Chef German Lamb Fights Cancer with a Freestyle Lifestyle. And what I learned is you have one life, you have one body, you have one mind, you have one heart. How do you want to build that? Besides, once you finish reading from everyone else's story, now it really pretty much comes to you. It's like a chef. What is your technique? Are you copying Escoffier, or are you creating something that Escoffier would say, now we're cooking, And that's what the industry that we're in, right? And for me, I lived a healthy lifestyle, exercising, eating A+. And suddenly the C word decided to say, hey, German, I'm going to tag you. I was like, wow. So in one way, but what I learned is if I wasn't a chef, I would not be able to repair, rebuild myself from the ashes. So I was like, wow. So even though, the C word could be destroyed, who's going to teach you about cooking? Like what Chef Mark said, right? You have to know cooking because you're putting love back into the body, right? And, when Chef Noreen said, living in this country, it's amazing. It's a privilege. It's so beautiful. However, if you lack discipline, structure, when you go in the supermarket, now it's going to do some serious damage to you. So one way I look at it is, this is really great, because every time you go to a restaurant, you go to a supermarket, there are going to be the aisles. Everybody talks about is, don't go inside, stay outside, right? But you're like, why? If you understand and there's a consequence, like it's like say, you play, you pay. And once you understand that, you're going to be fine. So for me is enjoy life, embrace it. If life knocked you down, wipe the ashes from you and figure out how to build the body, mind, spirit, and food the way you want it.
Yeah, I can agree more. And like you said, that choice at the grocery store, should I get the pack of donuts or should I get 5 apples? That small choice can make a huge difference, And that kind of leads us to our next question in a way where food that could be used as medicine. And I truly believe that it is possible to use food as medicine. Certain ingredients have certain benefits, certain spices have certain benefits that can cure certain things. So I think that's a big and important topic. So do you believe that food can be used as medicine? And if so, what are the benefits? And what foods can be used in a beneficial way, Chef Mark?
I believe that food can be medicine, but I think, just like Chef Lamb said, when cancer arrived at his doorstep, he was already pretty healthy apart from the cancer. So yes, he had to come back from the ashes, but he was already in a healthy state. So that probably helped greatly fighting the cancer. So I think if you actually look at food as medicine to keep you healthy, then choosing food items that are packed, that are nutrient dense, such as seasonal fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, a wide variety of nuts and seeds and beans and legumes. I think if you're looking at the whole parcel, then yes, food can be used as medicine, because it's not until you're adding a ton of sugar or you're adding alcohol or you're adding preservatives or additives, that's what's going to deteriorate the body. So if you're looking to try and keep your eating plan as clean as possible by choosing whole foods, then I think food can be medicine and you can live a healthy, long life. Combined with sun, sleep, exercise, everything else, and trying to cut down on stress. And then if you look at herbs and spices, they're all good for the immune system. So yeah, I think you can look at food as being medicine.
And I like what you said on how when the cancer hit Chef Flem, he was already healthy. That makes a difference, because imagine if he wouldn't have been healthy and he decided to make that change at that time, it could have been too late. So already coming into it prepared, it already puts you a step above. It's possible to change if you're not prepared and something like that happens, but it can be more difficult than if you are already prepared and your body is already a machine.
Exactly. With my wife, when she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, it was already terminal and she was given 3 years. But when we changed her diet completely, she lived an extra 5 years from what the doctors told her. And I think that was because she was actually healthy apart from the cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Your body's a machine and it fights certain things naturally. And if you put in unnatural things into it, then the result will be the result is. But naturally, your body should be able to cure itself and heal itself. And that's done by the things, natural foods. So that's super, super important. Noreen or Chef Lamb?
I wholeheartedly believe food can be used as medicine. It's one of my biggest drivers in my own personal research. I have all these books about natural medicine and herbs and spices, and it's incredible what the natural world can give you. Pardon me, gentlemen, I'm gonna get a little personal, but I have endometriosis. And that's where the uterine wall cells will grow outside of the uterus, and it can create a lot of cascading issues. And there isn't really any conventional medicine in pharmaceuticals to help with that. And I had a very nice conversation with one of my care providers, and she's like, "Have you looked into these different herbs And something as simple as red raspberry leaf and hibiscus has made the biggest difference in my pain and in my regulation every month, and every big difference, like immense. It's not everything works exactly the same for everyone. And I think that's the beauty of herbs and spices, is you have to find your own mix that works. But if the solution is out there in the natural world, I think we should utilize it and try it. It's there. If I can drink a tea and it makes me feel better, why not? You know, I also have like iron deficiency, and instead of taking iron supplements, I just eat more leafy greens. Now I don't have that problem. And then I have the added benefit of everything else that comes with eating beautiful leafy greens. So I definitely think it can be used as a form of medicine. We just need to look into it and be open to it. Modern medicine is incredible. It definitely is. But the natural world is also very powerful in and of itself.
Yeah, I gotta say that's a great great experience that you shared, of how just that simple change in drinking the tea or eating leafy greens, it changed your whole, you know,
Yeah.
everything, all the problems that you were experiencing just by that simple change. And food has that power, you know, it has that natural nutrients that you need. So thank you so much, Noreen, for sharing that with us. Chef Lamb.
Well, my quote is, I love the 5 food groups. And I use this analogy in sports. Think about this. Each finger is a food group. Now, what happens when you do this? Now you win championships. And for me, it's something that you have to understand about philosophy and principles. And I love that stuff. So it's like I'm a history geek, you know, like going back in time, before and after, and the current. Why? Because you learn a lot about culture. And think about my culture, Asian, Confucius, the yin and yang, you know, the herbal medicine, the acupuncture. It's right in front of me. But the question is, do I embrace it? Right? So for me, just because this culture doesn't mean I'm gonna embrace it and say, yeah, come in, I'm gonna take all this herb and yin and yang. Hell no. You have to understand what is the fountain of youth. And right now, it's pretty challenging because look at the ocean. It is so powerful, and it cleans itself, it heals itself, and it destroys itself. You know, think about that. You know, the creatures in that ocean, and think about all those, you know, ships that went down and all those creatures. So to me, you learn, you know, the mountains, yeah, the woods, animals. Oh my God, they teach us. So
Yeah,
for
it's
me,
true.
you know, that is my approach right there, you know, and it works for me because like I understand in cooking is you take the world and you take Chef Mark and you go, okay, which do I like? And you start adding. That's it, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you, like you said, you learn from nature, and you learn from what's out there, and you see what works and what doesn't work. It's super important. So thank you so much for all of that great advice. So to kind of wrap it off, we have about like 5 minutes left. What is one last piece of advice that you might have for somebody wishing to live a healthy lifestyle? Chef Mark, you want to start us off?
I think just like we've been discussing, everything in life comes to education, because you don't know what you know until you learn it. So, you know, be open to take advice, find a mentor in your where you want to be in your life, whether it's your career or being healthy. Find somebody who you can learn from who is healthy, and get ideas from that person. And then basically learn as much as you possibly can every day, because something new every day, whether it's about your career, whether it's about your health, whether it's about your future. You can always learn something new that's going to help you to get to your goal where you want to be. So I think it's all about education.
Yeah, education is super important. Like you said, being knowledgeable on how to get to your goals and what's good for you, what's not good for you, and even in your career, how to make certain decisions is super important. So thank you so much, Chef, for that, Noreen.
Yeah. Where, you know, Chef Lamb talks about YouTube, right? YouTube is free. All of the lessons on there are free from so many different experts. And we have LinkedIn, we have Reddit, we have Instagram, we have Dr. Google. Everything is online. If you are not into reading books, I love to read books. Educate yourself and just try. You'll find what fits and sticks with you. Try different things and don't give up, because at the end of the day, you're doing this for yourself, your future. And you have to love yourself and put that first, and it'll come. Just learn and try.
Yeah, don't give up is a big thing. It's easy to get discouraged if you don't see progress right away, but continue on with it and eventually it'll come. So that's super important. Don't give up. Chef Lamb?
Well, I'm going to use the philosophy as a chef. What do? We train, develop, and correct all the time. Why? Because we want to make sure that scrambled eggs comes out nice and fluffy, not overcooked, not dry. So you have to be comfortable in correcting people when you see something that's wrong. And to me, that is the key thing. You're going to meet someone in your journey like Chef Mark, and Chef Mark's going to open his book and say, hey, this is how I am living a healthy lifestyle. So the thing is, in our industry, is we share, but then you have to be willing to understand when someone says, hey, that's a bad move, man. You could lose a finger. So for me, it's really about maturity, and maturity sometimes is very painful, just like being a parent. Parents, it's the easiest job, but also it could devastate you, because you're like, oh my God, what did you just do? Oh my God, you cure cancer? Hallelujah. Oh my God, right? That is to me, I'm saying to myself, who wants to, who wants to really come out and be a solution to the world right now?
Yeah, exactly. It's about being a solution to the problem and acting on what's going to make you better is super important. So I thank you guys so much for being a part of this call today. It really means a lot. And it will not only impact those that are listening, but it'll impact those that are connected to those that are listening. So I thank you so much for being a part of this call, and see you guys on the next call. Thank you.